Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. Do you still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions? This story does not add up.
If you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll keep on being what you've always been. Nothing changes unless you make it change.
You have to change yourself, and we'll never do that because the dollars now, it's everybody wants $1 and a toy. Everybody's got a cell phone that'll make pancakes and rub their balls, so nobody wants to rock the boat. Nobody wants to change. Don't change anything. And we're in a nice downward glide. I call it circling the drain. That's what I'm going to call my next book, Circling the Drain. And the circles get smaller and smaller and faster if you watch a drain. If you watch a sink empty, and we'll be gone. And that's fine. I welcome it. I wish I could live 1,000 years to watch it happen from a distance so I could see it all.
Does it depress you?
No, it lifts me up. It lifts me up because I gave up on this stuff. I gave up on my species, and I gave up on my fellow Americans. I gave up on my countrymen because I think we squandered great gifts. I think humans were given great gifts. Walking upright, binocular vision, opposable thumb, large brain, making tools. Make tools, large brain, make better tools. Talk, have to like language. You take this, put in here. We learned language, the brain got bigger, language. We grew. We had great gifts, and we gave it all up for both for both money and God. God and mammon, both. We gave it up to the high priests. It's your job. It's God's will. That's what they say. People say it's God's will. That means God can do anything he wants, so why pray? They say, you pray for something. Okay, he didn't answer my prayers. Well, it's God's will. Well, if it's God's will, why did I even pray in the first place? He's going to do what he wants anyway. We gave it all up to superstition, primitive superstition, primitive shit. Invisible man in the sky looking down, keeping track of what we do, make sure we don't do the wrong thing. If we do, he puts us in hell and we burn forever. That kind of shit is very limiting. It's very limiting for this brain we have. So we keep ourselves limited, and then we want a toy and a gizmo and gold, and we want shiny things, and we want something to plug in that'll make big things for us. And all that shit is nothing. It's nothing. We gave it all up. And Americans, who also had great gifts, when you take the theory of democratic rule, self-government, okay, they started off wrong. They owned slaves. They didn't let women vote. They didn't let people who didn't own land vote. Fine. They got off on the wrong foot. But the ideas were good. But we fucking blew that. We polluted it. We polluted it with this stuff, things, material goods, games, gizmos, toys, gadgets, having possessions. He's got a bigger truck. He says, see his truck? It's bigger than mine. I'm getting a new truck. Here's a big truck. Oh, I'm getting that one. That's what, you got a video in it? Your DVD too? He don't have a DVD. I got a DVD, you know. Oh, please. Whatever happened? And all of that is what happened, you know. And that's why I'm divorced from it now. I see it from a distance. I give myself a divorce. I say, George, emotionally you have no stake in this. You don't care one way or another. So watch it. Have fun. You know what? I say it this way. When you're born in this world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. And when you're born in America, you're given a front row seat. And some of us get to sit there with notebooks. And I'm a notebook guy. Oh my God, did you see that? Did you see what he just... And I watch the freak show, and I get my notes, and I make up stuff about it, and I talk about the freaks. And the freaks are all humans, and they're like me, and they're all the same. We're all the same. I'm not better. I'm not different. I'm just apart now. I'm separate. I'm over here because I put myself out of the mix. I don't have a stake in the outcome. I'm not a cheerleader for a given outcome now. Oh, they say if you scratch a cynic, you'll find a disappointed idealist. And I would admit that somewhere underneath all of this, there's a little flicker of a flame of idealism that would love to see it all change. But it can't happen that way.
Former U.S. President George Bush and his former counterpart Tony Blair were found guilty of war crimes by the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal, which held a 4-day hearing in Malaysia. The 5-panel tribunal unanimously decided that Bush and Blair committed genocide and crimes against peace and humanity when they invaded Iraq in 2003 in blatant violation of international law. The judges ruled that war against Iraq by both the former heads of states was a flagrant abuse of law and an act of aggression which amounted to a mass murder of the Iraqi people.
Bush and Blair are found guilty under the same law that applied to the Nazis after the end of World War II. So they are international criminals, guilty of Nuremberg crimes against peace, and they should be prosecuted by any state in the world that gets a hold of them. And we will continue our efforts to bring Bush and Blair to justice and put them in jail.
In their verdict, the judges said that the United States, under the leadership of Bush, forged documents to claim that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. They further said the findings of the tribunal be made available to members of the Rome Statute and the names of Bush and Blair be entered into a war crimes register.
There is also a recommendation that this be circulated to states, because all states have universal jurisdiction, and therefore whenever Bush or Blair appear within their shores, there is an obligation under international law to commit these criminals, international war criminals, through the justice system.
Both Bush and Blair have repeatedly said the so-called war against terror was targeted at terrorists. Lawyers and human rights workers who are present here today say that the verdict by the tribunal is a landmark decision, and the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal say that they would persuade and lobby with the International Criminal Court to charge former U.S. President George Bush and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair for war crimes charges. Maheshwari Ramakrishnan, Press TV, Kuala Lumpur.
I think the 10th anniversary is the appropriate occasion to sum up all the research that's been done over 10 years, which suggests that the story we've been given about 9/11 is not true.
We wanted an investigation into all of the actions and failures that had led to the deaths of our loved ones and so many others on that horrible September day. A real investigation into 9/11 has never been done.
Why didn't the commission deal with the collapse of Building 7, which some call the smoking gun?
And at 5:20 in the afternoon on 9/11, it fell vertically and symmetrically in 6.5 seconds.
NIST acknowledges WT7 came down without resistance and without doing any work for over 100 feet. They even gave the equation of the line. It shows that the slope is exactly equal to the acceleration of gravity. The fact of free fall is literally proof of demolition.
Boom, 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 boom. Just like 20 straight hits.
We just heard one more explosion. That's about the fourth one we've heard.
High-rise office buildings do not collapse due to fires. All 3 skyscrapers were destroyed by explosive-controlled demolition. But take a close look now at the corner, where you see developing a series of explosions rapidly advancing down the corner of the building much faster than the rest of these explosions, almost as fast as the free-falling objects.
We have found what we call nanothermite.
The thermite reaction was present and occurring at the World Trade Center on 9/11 and afterward in the pile at the World Trade Center site.
Thermite must have been there one way or the other.
The FBI's official 9/11 investigation code name is Pentagon. It's the official story, of course, in the 9/11 Commission report, and all the media that follows their lead is that bombs really weren't involved at the World Trade Centers or the Pentagon.
Americans know you can keep secrets. We kept the Manhattan Project secret. That had 100,000 people working on it. Conspiracies happen. We know that. Iran-Contra, Watergate. Conspiracy is a sound legal concept. We use it all the time.
9/11 has unleashed a roadmap of war and destruction.
A war machine that has been building incrementally since Eisenhower warned us about it in 1961.
Anybody who looks at it will realize that we're not walking in there with tinfoil hats. We are just normal people. We are ordinary citizens who are concerned and trying to do something about it.
This isn't over, this is just beginning. This is just beginning.
A group of skeptics are meeting in Toronto next month to question the events of 9/11. The meeting comes as thousands are set to gather to remember the lives lost on this, the 10-year anniversary of those attacks. The conspiracy theory meetings are set to take place at Ryerson University, and that's where CTV's Amanda Blitz joins us now. Amanda.
Hi, Jacqueline. That's right. Ryerson University, that's where we are. It's supposed to take place from September 8th to September 11th. You might notice the date. Well, that's got some people concerned. I'm here right now with the organizer of the event, Graham McQueen. So, Graham, why are you having this on September 11th, the 10th anniversary?
Well, I think the 10th anniversary is the appropriate occasion to sum up all the research that's been done over 10 years, which suggests that the story we've been given about 9/11 is not true.
But what do you say to those people who say that it's so insensitive to have it on September 11th, on the 10th year anniversary?
I think the people who find it insensitive are probably people who feel that folks like me are nuts and busybodies with nothing better to do. If that's your perspective, you would see it as insensitive. But if you open up your mind to the possibility that we are actually researchers, in my case, university professor for 30 years, doing my best research on this, and we're trying to determine what happened, why it happened, and who did it, those kinds of questions, and we're saying the official story is wrong. I think if you open your mind to the possibility that we're right, it's not insensitive, it's actually crucial. Why would Canadians want to build their foreign policy and their domestic policy on a lie?
So have you faced any resistance, because, first of all, to have the conference in the first place, and then secondly, because of the date that's been chosen?
No serious resistance, no. There are people in the movement of dissent, the so-called 9/11 Truth movement, who feel we should include this evidence rather than that evidence, you know, and they're not happy with this and that. So those are predictable disagreements in a social movement, but it's not serious level.
It's called the Toronto hearings, so can you explain a little bit what exactly is going to happen over these 4 days?
We are going to have 4 days, 9 to 5, 8th to 11th, where we bring expert witnesses from around the world who have looked into this and know a lot about it. And they are going to make presentations which will be critical of the official U.S. story, especially two big reports that are at the heart of that story. And there will be a panelist of four distinguished a panel of four distinguished panelists who will listen to that evidence, who will deliberate, who will ask questions, and who will in the end write a report.
And so is the ultimate goal the report, or where does this report go? What's the ultimate goal of
this? The fact of freefall is literally proof of demolition.
Boom, 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 boom. Just like 20 straight hits.
We just heard one more explosion. That's about the fourth one we've heard.
High-rise office buildings do not collapse due to fires. All three skyscrapers were destroyed by explosive controlled demolition. But take a close look now at the corner where you see developing a series of explosions rapidly advancing down the corner of the building much faster than the rest of these explosions, almost as fast as the free-falling objects.
We have found what we call nanothermite.
The thermite reaction was present and occurring at the World Trade Center on 9/11 and afterward in the pile at the World Trade Center site.
Thermite must have been there one way or the other.
The FBI's official 9/11 investigation code name is Pent-Bomb. It's the official story, of course, in the 9/11 Commission report, and all the media that follows their lead is that bombs really weren't involved at the World Trade Centers or the Pentagon.
Americans know you can keep secrets. We kept the Manhattan Project secret.